Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And it's time for another daily dose of Dismal Disney. We've got Disney losing support from California. CalPERS, which is a retirement fund in California. They actually backed Nelson Peltz in trying, and this is after we had kind of a flip-flop the other day with New York backing Disney. So we don't know which way this thing is going to go, to be honest. And I know a lot of people are trying to prematurely call it. We've got some people out there saying that they think that Peltz has this in the bag, but we did a video yesterday that very few of the votes are actually in.
Right, and most was independent voters, but they said the independent shareholders are the ones that are going to be probably deciding this.
Yes.
Overall, but we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Anyway, let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
This is coming from Deadline. Disney bruised in board vote battle as pension fund CalPERS backs Nelson Peltz and ex-CFO. They said there's only 100 hours left before the deadline for all Disney shareholders to cast their votes, and CalPERS, which is the California Public Employee Retirement System, blew a hole through Bob Iger and supporters' hard-fought efforts to keep the Ike Perlmutter-backed Peltz, as a sentence and a half, and a former CFO from gaining seats.
Well, interesting. I mean, California, you'd think they would back Bob Iger. Like, it's California,
you would think that would be a given, yeah.
You know, but they're not.
They're not. Now, historically, I can tell you, as somebody who grew up partially in California, California used to actually have more conservatives than they do now. Or at least they were a little more outspoken, but that was a long time ago.
I think there's a lot there. You just don't hear about it as much because they bury it.
Bury it. CalPERS believes Walt Disney Company will benefit from fresh eyes on its board of directors and voted its company shares in favor of candidates Nelson Peltz and Jay Rasulo, said the chief of CalPERS Office of Public Affairs. CalPERS says it will also vote for Iger and the likes of ex-Morgan Stanley boss James Gorman for the 12-member board. They said the pension fund's established voting guidelines focus on the need for independent corporate boards, a say in setting executive pay, and increased transparency. So that's one of the big problems with Disney is transparency. No cap on executive pay.
He's on the board to decide what he gets paid.
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
It's like they're technically your boss. Like the board is technically who the CFO answers to.
But he's on the board too.
So yeah, that's like basically you're giving this guy a blank check.
I mean, this happens other places. The CEO is on the board as well, but it's just I don't know. He doesn't need to be.
So the two new directors are qualified and capable of leading needed change in corporate governance and will serve the Disney board. Well, one of them, again, 30 years of experience at Disney, including being the CFO.
But they said that he doesn't have that many votes. People are voting for Peltz, but not really him.
Yeah,
According
that's
to that article from yesterday we looked at.
Yeah, so we did talk about that. That was actually the Wall Street Journal, and they said that Rasulo does not have as much support as Peltz. Remember, Nelson Peltz is the guy with the glasses.
That's right.
Nelson
Just in case
Peltz
you didn't
with glasses. He doesn't have that much support, which is weird because I actually would vote for Jay Rasulo before I would vote for Nelson Peltz because of his Disney experience. And because when they did that town hall meeting, the way he talked, that sounded like old school Disney. Like this guy gets it. And he was there when they were, hit after hit after hit. And I don't know.
Well, I think even if he doesn't get on the board, I'm sure that Peltz is going to be working with him.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm sure he'll be asking him what he thinks and all that stuff.
Yeah, with 1.8 billion shares outstanding, Disney may not have a lot to fear from just CalPERS, who is one of the top 40 shareholders. However, behind closed doors in Burbank, it's likely everyone is taking this or talking as this vote has now clearly become too close for Disney's comfort.
It's been. The way they've been behaving has demonstrated that. The setting up a website because they had to restore the magic once they had to set up Vote Disney or whatever it was. The Ludwig von Drake video, the mudslinging video, all the times you turn on podcasts and Disney videos on YouTube and you're seeing that Ludwig von Drake video being run. He's flying around, going to different places and trying to win shareholder support. And again, I would love to know how much money that's costing and are they getting it out of the Disney coffers? Because if so, that's bullshit. You know, why are you using Disney money to go support these 2 board members?
Yeah, it's weird. I mean,
Why is he doing it, not the board members?
That is true. Aren't you supposed to be running the company, Bob? Aren't you supposed to be taking care of business? So yeah, I said just a couple of weeks ago, it looked like Perlmutter and Peltz had it, or they were going to lose for sure, 100%. And now
I don't think that looked like that a couple weeks ago. Disney was freaking out.
Well, they're freaking out more now.
If that was the case 2 weeks ago, we wouldn't have saw the mudslinging ad.
Well, there are some people coming out now saying that they think some money type people coming out now and saying they think Disney has it, but it is going to be close. We have other people saying that they're pretty sure that Nelson Peltz is going to get his way. I mean, I don't know.
I'll be happy if Peltz or Rasulo get on the board, but I'm also would not be surprised if they don't. Let's put it that way. I mean, I would like to see one of them on the board, but I mean, if I was betting money in the way that Iger's going out there and doing his schmoozing shit, I think that they'll probably keep the status quo. But this time it wasn't just Nelson Peltz. We had other groups coming in. So you can't argue it's just one guy with a vendetta, because there's all these other groups that are coming in saying something needs to change. And then we're seeing a lot of these groups backing Peltz, a lot of them backing Iger, but when you hear about Iger's backers, there are a lot of like George Lucas and you don't know how much stock he has, and these people. But the investor groups that are backing like Peltz and stuff, they're backing him because they're tired of losing money and they're tired of Disney,
sucking.
Yes, basically. And Disney just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And I think they're going to have to change, because even if he doesn't get on the board, they're still going to have to make changes. If they don't, there's going to be like 4 or 5 investor groups coming after you next time.
Yeah, I mean, he gave them another year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the Grim Reaper held off a little bit. You got a reprieve, and now it's like, okay, you're not bringing it. In fact, you guys did worse this year than you did last year, especially with the movies. So yeah, we're going to have to do something. And again, it comes down to individual shareholders too. Now they're saying a lot of individual shareholders haven't been casting their votes though. And some people, they've been trying to buy the votes off of people. And, but this came from the New York Times. First I've seen this. They said that individuals hold as much as 40% of the company's shares, and they may decide the proxy battle. Mm-hmm. That's one of the most expensive in history. Yeah.
Well, it's expensive in history because Disney's spending a shit ton of money. But why? Just for 2 board seats. And you keep hearing that it's Iger's job, but it's not Iger's job on the line. So this doesn't make any sense. Why are they trying so hard? What are they hiding?
That's what is interesting, because again, it shouldn't be that big of a deal to just have 2 new board members. Mm-hmm. And what is it? Why are we playing keep away? And that's what they're doing. They're playing keep away.
I mean, we're spending a lot of money to play keep away.
Yeah. And normally, I mean, it's not, again, this isn't like a corporate raid. This isn't, this corporation's coming in and taking over Disney. This is, they just want a seat at the table, being significant shareholders to be able to voice concerns about the direction of the company. That's not unusual. This happens all the time in companies, and you don't hear anything about it publicly. But Disney has decided to turn this into a big public fiasco. And yeah, what are they hiding?
Well, this is interesting. Okay, so this is one person, they said, used allowance money in 2009 when he was 11 to buy a few shares of Disney stock. Now he owns 400 shares, over 400 shares. Mm-hmm. And he says it's not very much, but Disney has been sending him all kinds of campaign materials and all that stuff to, to elect their people to their board.
Yes.
I guess every vote matters.
Yeah, this is the guy who runs a Disney blog. Mm-hmm. It said up to 40% of Disney shares are held by individuals, retail investors, as Wall Street refers to them, with a hint of derision. On average, among public companies, individuals represent closer to 15%. That's the thing about Disney. That's why I said before, when this whole thing started, I said, what is actually going to hurt the chances, I think, of Peltz coming in is that you have a lot of pixie dusters, hardcore Disney fans, that they don't own, literally, they own no other stock. They only own Disney stock. And they're going to vote for Disney because Disney told them to. Yeah,
and if people don't vote, it'll probably just count for Disney.
Default,
it'll just be like whatever the status quo is. Yeah.
Abstains courteously. Did you ever see that? 1776? New York abstains courteously. They always abstained.
What if I don't want to be courteous? What if I abstain? What's the opposite of courteous? What
do we do here every day? What do we do here every day? That's the opposite of
courteously, yeah.
Yeah, it said the Disney Peltz proxy battle, expected to be one of the most expensive in history, may be decided by the little people. That's the thing, and we don't know how they're going to vote.
That they keep like trying to ostracize and alienate from things because they're too damn expensive.
Yeah,
the little people, ones you don't pay attention to till you need to, Bob.
But I think a lot of little people. I mean, this could go either way. I think the ones that are gonna vote or bother voting are the ones who are fed up with how Disney is now. But is that going to be the majority of these people?
Little clownfish instead of the big whales.
Instead of the big whales. Oh my God, they've got the Ludwig von Drake. Oh my God. Yeah, it said to appeal to individual shareholders, Disney deployed characters like Moana and Iron Man to solicit votes.
So it's funny now the mainstream media is even being like, dude, you know?
Yeah.
That's funny.
In February, the company released an animated video starring Donald Duck's uncle. So yeah, I don't know how it's going to go. Yeah, see, this is a typical person here. Corey Borgstadt has been a Disney stockholder since 2008 when her grandmother gave her a single share for Christmas. She was 3 years old. Now she's continued to acquire shares, and she read a few news articles about the proxy contest, but largely disregarded Triumph's case. I admire Bob Iger, and I trust him to know what's right.
Beep, bop, boop.
So
Bob
I voted
Iger
for
is the best.
So I voted for the white slate.
How old is she though? 2008, and she was 3. So that would mean she's 19.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's been around enough to know.
They said experts say there's one big factor in Disney's fight that may affect instinct fans that involves politics. So they're worried that a lot of the shareholders probably are conservative.
Oh, you mean because it's probably not the smartest thing to like, get in the middle of these political battles and all that crap and pushing things, certain things, instead of just good movies and shows.
I mean, look, Disney World is in Florida. A lot of conservatives in Florida. Conservatives, I'm going to be honest, they tend to be capitalists. Capitalists tend to buy things like stock. Mm-hmm. It is possible that consumers could actually, oust those board members.
We'll know in a couple days.
Yeah, we'll know in a couple days.
We'll know on Wednesday.
We shall see, guys. But I wouldn't take that bet either way at this point because I have no idea, and I think a lot of people are probably just going to forget all about it.
I think it's going to end up the status quo.
Probably.
I'm hoping beyond hope that's not the case. But if I were a betting person, it's probably going to end up the status quo. I think a lot of people just aren't going to vote.
Yeah,
and a lot of the people that own stock that are independents are a lot of times pixie dusters, and they're just going to side with Bob Iger because they're under the impression that Chapek was the one that caused all the problems when it was Iger.
Now, the upside to this, and some other financial publications have brought it up, is that even if Peltz and Rasulo don't get a seat, Disney is going to be forced to change because they got pretty damn close to losing those seats because of this.
Next year, it's not going to be 3 people, 3 groups or whatever. It's going to be more if they don't fix the problem.
Yeah. All right. We're going to wrap it up?
Yes.
All right. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.